So many people mentioned how it's difficult to sell such an initiative to internal stakeholders to actually show that, hey, there is value in improving employee experience, prioritizing it, not only focusing on customer experience. And Brittany here asks, was getting leadership buy-in part of your experience, or was that already established? Do you have any advice on what helped leadership to prioritize this particular work?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that buy-in was in our case, and I can also speak to when we don't have any buy-in at all. But in this case, so the VP of experience was a part of the team, and they knew how important this work was, and they were evangelizing this with the key stakeholders, the rest of the stakeholders in the company. And we definitely had a stepped approach. It was very strategic that, okay, once we finish our research, we're going to go to the key leadership group and do a session with them. And they are part of the co-creation activity so that they can kind of see and understand that, oh, these are some really important pain points that the employees are experiencing that we need to work towards fixing. And once you have that high leadership buy-in, then we moved on to individual groups where we worked with HR, we worked with IT, we worked with the management group. And then once we had done that, we shared this whole thing with the employees overall, and then got them involved in the process. Now Yene is constantly reached out by different employees in the organization to kind of provide feedback. Not only that, Yene and I have been in meetings where we have shared this work now with Emids, the company that acquired us, and we are trying to now show the value of this work and communicate the value with them. So I would say that it's always going to be, those challenges are always going to be there. Like, not all stakeholders will see the value at the first glance. So I would say, like, finding the first stakeholder, finding that one stakeholder that feels and sees the value, start that conversation there, start that communication with them there. And it doesn't even have to be this elaborate study. Like, obviously I understand that Macadamian is a consulting firm with a high UX maturity, so there's obviously buy-in for UX work, and that's why we were able to do 3 journey maps in like one research study. But sometimes you might not have the opportunity to do that, so pick the process that's most broken or needs to be most fixed. For example, say your onboarding process is broken, so do the research in that space and just create an onboarding journey. And that also doesn't have to be like, I would say, doesn't have to preface with the idea that you're creating a journey. Sometimes when we work with clients, at times they're like, oh, we just want foundational research just to identify the pain points and improve and inform the next iteration of our product. We go ahead and do foundational research with those stakeholders as well. So as you're just having those initial interactions to identify those tactical pain points, you can ask more broader questions. And there are times when a journey map is not something that's promised to the client, but we end up creating one for them and then helping them see the value of this kind of work. And I've been in numerous presentations with clients when they come to us and they're like, oh, wow, they see the journey map and they're like, oh, this is really valuable. This is really helpful for us. Can we get a copy of that? So that helps get that buy-in as well. So start with where you can and try to incorporate any sort of journey mapping work in your any kind of research that you're doing. As you were saying, like, if you've started with process mapping, you can map out that process and then point out those loopholes in that process, and then start like pointing that out to your stakeholders. Like, we really need to understand this specific stage of the process, and that's how you can eventually create the journey too. So it doesn't have to be one research study. It could be an iterative research process to build your journey map.
Yeah, and we were very lucky that our VP of user experience was evangelizing this work even before we joined Macadamian. So the field was already pre-prepared for that. But something that I would recommend is justify, because we have presented this about the employee journey so many times. And most of the time, yes, people love it. They want to replicate, but some people, they ask, but why? And then we answer, and then, but why? So first justify, think about like, why would you be doing this at your company? what value do you think this would bring? You have to have like a solid justification for that to make people really get involved and make the company, you know, invest time and money on that initiative as well.
And as Yene said, that we shared it multiple times, that was the part of the process of getting the buy-in. We know that we cannot expect the leadership and the stakeholder to buy into our work just by sharing it once with them. Like I've been in situations where research has been, and this is a broader challenge with research in general, is like to get buy-in, you wouldn't want to just share your findings once and then just move on and then no one reads it. Any opportunity where you can find where questions come up that refer to your past research, go back and pull that research out and tell people we already have these answers and we already did this work and this is what it looks like. Is this helpful to help you make your decision that you're trying to make? So try to pull back and leverage the research that has already been done in the past to kind of also get that buy-in from your stakeholders.